We are live. We are live. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, please subscribe to our channel, ring the notification bell, share the video, smash that like button. And if you want to support this college football's rebel outpost with a donation to help us grow, help us keep the lights on and grow the channel, just hit that $sign where you make your comment, and I'll get you super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome everybody into the studio that sits on the corner, the very corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to become a legend with your comments and with your phone calls. Today is the day, January 27th. We are going to be covering live, real-time reaction in about 15 minutes from now, 50, the official Big Ten release. The football schedule being released in real time. We are going to cover it in real time here at Peek Around the Corner. We covered the ACC football schedule yesterday. We covered the release of the Big 12 football schedule a week ago. We covered the SEC a long time ago. Today we are going to be covering the Big 10 schedule. And let me tell you something. Bimba 79, 75, 79. Let me tell you something, Amazing Blue. I don't see anybody else on my schedule. Look, Michigan, Penn State. I want the Golden Gophers. I want Michigan early. I want Penn State. One of those two games I want early in the Gopher schedule. I want to catch you early. You got a new coach. You got Kyle Whittingham. You've got Matt Campbell. Penn State's going to have a new quarterback who is under Matt Campbell. Bryce Underwood's going to remain, of course, the quarterback. Michigan, bring them on, baby. Bring on the Wolverines. The little brown jug. I hope it's in September 26th. I think we go to Michigan. I don't remember. It don't matter where we play Michigan. We could play Michigan out in the parking lot for the little brown jug. Bring them to me early. Don't bring them to me late. Bring them to me early. Michigan, Penn State, I want one of those two early. Anyways, that is my rant. That is my my Gopher propaganda early on this January 27th. So we're going to be covering that. We've got Mr. Hoosier, Ricky Tungate, Super Chat. $5 holla. Thank you, Ricky Tungate. I do appreciate your generosity. Thank you for starting us off. Got you at the start of the show. Thank you very much, Ricky. I appreciate it. Again, look at the title screen. The Indiana Hoosiers. A lot of people have been analyzing the Indiana Hoosiers' success. What is their secret sauce? I don't think it's all that secret. I don't think it's all that complicated. You know, people saying they're an old team, right? They're an old team. Yeah, they're old. Yep. Other teams were old. Other teams were old, and they did not go 16-0. I happen to think the Indiana Hoosiers did what they did because doing little things right every day. And that is the title screen put up on this live show January 27th. We are going to be going just through a small part of the Athletic article that came out today. The Athletic asked other coaches, what is the secret of Indiana? We are just going to be taking a small percentage of that article, and I want to read it to you all. And I think the part that I took out really encapsulates what made Indiana special and what is going to make Indiana a threat for the years to come. But if I could put it into 6 words, doing little things right every day. So we're going to be covering the Big Ten schedule in real time in about 48 minutes from now. We're going to be talking about the Indiana football team. We've got another change, as it were, to the college football playoffs in 2026 that I did not know. I had no idea. This is the new rule for the college football playoffs in 2026. So we are going to talk about that in a moment to begin our show. I'm going to have to take a big L. I had no idea. And it sounds like there were G6 schools, a whole lot of them, that had no idea until recently about this new rule popping up when it comes to deciding who is going to be in the playoffs to represent the G6. Wow. And I don't think it's a little trivial thing here. So we're going to be talking about that. I'll leave you a little bit of a tease. It was just reported. Let's do a roll call here. Outlaw Skis is in the house. Amazing Blue. Don Scruggs, Georgia Bulldog. Caleb Ramirez, Buckeye. Karan Shakar. Bruce Harris. Humble, Bumble, Duck, Bob Swanger. Bring on the Nittany Lions. Give them to me early. Don't give them to me late when they got everything figured out. John Dry is in the house. John Dry is in the house. AMAC. Thank you, AMAC, for coming on in. Dream Crazy. Who is the biggest loser in the Big Ten schedule? Well, I don't know. They have not been released. Now, it sounds like the Oregon schedule might have been leaked. So we're gonna go to what is being reported by what have many consider a credible source. So we'll go through that Oregon leak schedule. Nothing has been leaked to me. Nothing. And over the last couple of years, I've had at least something leaked to me about the Big Ten schedule. Not this year. So we're going to all watch it together. I don't know who the big loser is, but we'll come up with one. I'm going to go ahead and just consider the Evil Badgers the biggest loser without even seeing the schedule. The Miami Hurricanes. I just noticed this. Yesterday's schedule, when it was released, they have 4 games not being played on a Saturday. 4 regular season games on a weekday. 3 of them back to back to back the first 3 weeks of the season. Holy smokes. Miami plays a Thursday, Friday, first 3 weeks of the schedule, the Miami Hurricanes. I have never seen that before. Again, Jonathan Weaver is in the house. Thanks for coming on in, Jonathan Weaver. Mr. Cowboy MBM is in the house. Jan Uzi is here. We are Penn State. Bring me the Nittany Lions. Bring them to me early. Dream Crazy. North Carolina has such a brutal slate of games. We went through that yesterday. And that's one of the things I remember. Greg Nelson is in the house. Rod is here. We are Penn State, a team of 24. We got a lot of Nittany Lions in the house. And here I am threatening Penn State with a conference loss. A conference loss to my beloved Golden Gophers if we get you guys early in the season. Because we're going to be ready. The Golden Gophers are going to be ready. We're an old team. We're an old football team. Not, we've got our main crew back except for Corey Perch, who couldn't tackle a scarecrow last year, but that's a whole nother story. Bring on Penn State or Michigan early. I don't want to see both those games late. Rich Austin is in the house. Bimba 75-79. The Jug is coming home. The Jug is coming home. Tough Tony is in the house. USC has a tough schedule. Yes, they do, and I think they're going to overcome. Fight on. Trojans are going to overcome that difficult schedule. Gophers losing at State College. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? No! John Boxleitner is in the house. USC has a brutal schedule. Canes fan, hi everyone. Congratulations on getting Darren Mensah. We covered that story in an episode that everybody could watch. Episode 471, I believe. Go give it a watch. Minnesota versus Indiana should be a good game. Sure, why not? It's the time to dream, January 27th. I don't have to back up any of my Gopher propaganda talk right now. I'm going to forget that I said it. Yes, Minnesota and Indiana should be a good game. The Big Lubbock is in the house. Thanks for coming on in, Red Raider, the Big Lubbock. The Big Ten is just getting harder. Good thing we have the Gophers to beat up on. Okay, Indiana's model bores me to death. Speaking of the biggest loser, will you talk about the Rutgers debts situation? We talked about it a little bit yesterday. They're accumulating debt over $70 million per year. They have a debt crisis. I mean, their debt expenditures every year is bigger than some schools spending on their coaching staffs. It is a big debt. Their line item on their expenses, that debt line is massive. I don't know what the answer is. at Rutgers. Don't know. NE's in the house. Yeah, Oregon got pipped if that's the actual schedule. Humble Bumble Duck says he has the schedule. We're going to go through it here in a second. The Big Ten schedule will drop at 4:30 in 40 minutes from now. 40 minutes from now. Who are the Gophers going to play on Friday? We always play a Friday game. I just hope it's not Iowa. I don't know. I bring on Penn State on Friday. Bring them on, baby. Bring them on. Or Michigan. No, Penn State ain't going to play at home on a Friday. So that game won't be on a Friday. Maybe Indiana. The Gophers have the reigning, defending, undisputed national champion on their football schedule for the third year in a row. We had Michigan on our schedule after Michigan won it. We had the Buckeyes on our schedule last year after they won it. And now we got Indiana on our schedule after they have won it. MGC Sooner is in the house. Cal Bears, thanks for coming on in, Cal Bears. Cal Bears, do you know, first of all, you know that I'm going to be Greg the Gold next year, right? You know you can count on my predictions against the spread, and you can count on my order of finish predictions when it comes to conference play, and you know, Cal Bear, that you should take my way too early top 25 selections very serious. I have your beloved California Golden Bears number 19 in the PATC's way too early top 25. Louisville, California, SMU, ACC schools all batched together. 18, 19, 20. Well behind Miami, but all batched up together. I think California has a pretty good opportunity. Although we went through their schedule yesterday. Not the easy schedule either. That California SMU game is going to be a monster game for both those programs in 2026. Christopher Hooter's in the house. Go Tigers. Movie Time Blues is here. Happy birthday, Greg. I don't know what Greg you're talking. It's not my birthday. It's not my birthday. Although the Big Ten football release, their schedule being released, is a very good present we're getting today. But it's not my birthday. Kirk Bender is in the house. I'd like to know when Oregon is supposed to play Ohio State this year. All right. Let's take a look real quick here. Let me take a quick look. This is from QB11. He is a credible source, according to the people who have talked with me on this. This is the supposedly leaked Oregon football schedule for 2026. They begin the season, Boise State. They knew that. Oklahoma State on September 12th. We knew that already. Portland State, we also had that information. Everybody had that information. That's the non-conference slate for the Oregon Ducks. They start the Big Ten whole schedule on the road against USC. Holy smokes. So, the Oregon Ducks football schedule is bookend, right? You've got USC at the beginning of the Big Ten Conference, and you've got the Buckeyes and the Wolverines near the end of the season. In the middle, you've got a bye after being on the road against the Trojans. You're at home against UCLA. You're at home against Nebraska. You're on the road to Illinois, at home against Northwestern. You're going to be favored probably, most likely, in all four of those games. At Illinois might be the closest point spread. And then on the road at Ohio State, November 11th. And then you got a home game, Michigan, November 14th. So, look, the Buckeyes, Michigan, Oregon, you've all got a tough November. Boo-hoo-hoo, you've all got a tough November. All right? So that is the league schedule for the Oregon Ducks. We do not know if that's 100% accurate. Holy November, Oregon. Yes. And Michigan. You play Oregon, you play the Buckeyes. You're going to have this Buckeye, Oregon, Michigan trifecta going on, playing each other in the month of November. All I know is I want my beloved Golden Gophers. They don't have to be in that. They don't have to be in that November massacre. Give us Penn State early. Give us Michigan early. Let's get it over with. Let's go. Let's go. Maybe we can clip one of you. Maybe we can go on a run. Maybe we can surprise people. Maybe people forget about my Gophers in November while all the big schools are playing each other, beating each other up. We're going to just sneak to the finish line. Steven Vitt is in the house. Thanks for coming on in. 10-2 or 9-3 for Oregon there. Big Ten trying to boost those November ratings. Oklahoma State ain't no cakewalk either. I agree. I got the Cowboys sitting at number 22. A lot of you think I'm crazy. I think I'm crazy like a fox when I got the Cowboys at number 22. Again, the Big Ten football schedule is finally going to be released. Finally going to be released in 32 minutes from now, and we're going to be covering it in real time as best we can. All right? As best as we can. Tough Tony, surprised Oregon has to travel to Michigan State that late in the season. I bet USC won't be playing in the Eastern time zone in the second to last week. Dang, that's a tough November. Adam Vulture. We've got Buckeye Greg is in the house. Thank you so much. Buckeye Greg, Super Chat. $10 holler from Buckeye Greg. Hey everyone, what's up? Ohio State has one of the toughest conference schedules this year. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a challenge. The Big Ten is the sandbox called the Big Ten this year. It's going to be a big challenge. There are going to be broken toys in that sandbox. There's going to be children crying in that sandbox. There's going to be people storming out of that sandbox. There's going to be people running to their mommy in that sandbox. And the Golden Gophers are going to have their own corner of the sandbox. And the complete separate corner than those evil Badgers and those evil Hawkeyes. And hopefully we do not have to dig a hole in the sandbox and bury ourselves. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Thank you, Buckeye Greg. I appreciate it. Appreciate the super chat. The Buckeyes do have a very tough schedule. The Amazing Blues super chat. Holy smokes. He takes a shot at my beloved Golden Gophers. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Amazing Blue, $2 holler. We don't mind beating Minnesota early just for you. Let me tell you something, Amazing Blue. Let me tell you something. The last time Minnesota played Michigan for the Little Brown Jug, Michigan took the big lead in Here Comes Minnesota. And we dominated the second half. We were knocking you over like a bunch of bowling pins. We were about to take the lead. We just scored. We were going to do the onside kick. We did the onside kick. It was a beautifully executed, not beautifully, it was perfectly executed onside kick. The Minnesota Gophers recovered the ball. The Gophers were about to score. The Michigan's defense, their hands were on they were bending over from exhaustion. And what happened? The referees screwed my Gophers. Screwed them. Offside. It wasn't even offsides. And of course, the old rule is the guy better be way offsides for you to throw that flag on that. And he wasn't even offsides. The Gophers had the Michigan, the defending, reigning, undisputed national champions. They had them beat. So, this year, you know what, Amazing Blue, Bimba 75, 79, and all you Wolverines in the PATC family, the Golden Gophers, we're not going to leave it to some onside kick attempt. We're not going to leave it in the Zebra's hands. We're going to take you out early. We're going to take you out in the middle. And we're going to take you out late. And we are bringing home to Minnesota the Little Brown Jug. Book it, Amazing Blue. But thank you for the $2 holler. Thank you for your generosity, my friend. Thank you so very much. Justice for Greg for the Golden Gophers. Greg, I still remember Ricky Foggy. I'm still mad. Well, I'm mad at you guys because we had you up 28-0. I can't remember what year that was. Daryl Thompson, the running back, just went down the sideline. 28-0. We were beating, I think, the number 1 Michigan Wolverines, and you guys came back to beat us. A lot of pain in that series for my beloved Golden Gophers. Thank you, Amazing Blue. Dream crazy. Minnesota will be first. Will beat Indiana. First will be Indiana. Sorry, we have to get to you. Look, I do not want to see Indiana early on the schedule. But I would not be shocked if I saw that. I would not be shocked if they put up on a Friday night Kirk Cinetti versus PJ Fleck. That would not surprise me at all. Now, this last year, it did not go good when the Gophers were on national television. Oregon whipped us from pillar to post. All right? Ohio State Buckeyes whipped us from pillar to post. Iowa whipped us. The only time we played any decent football is when the Gophers whipped up on Nebraska on national television, prime time, on a Friday night. So, on one respect, I don't want to see it happen. On the other, I can see that. I can see they're putting Kirk Cinetti and PJ Fleck together, prime time. Look, they're going to use Indiana as much as they possibly can. I'm talking about the Big Ten. They're going to use the Indiana Hoosiers to try to goose up those ratings. The Kirk Cinetti story, right? Indiana does not have any problems playing on a Friday night, playing at night in November. Indiana's just like Minnesota. It was just like Minnesota, where they would take any of the scraps, any of the games for exposure, because the big dogs in the Big Ten are not going to play those Friday night games at home. But Indiana will. Indiana will, and it's going to be a crazy environment. So I would not be surprised if Indiana has an early Friday night game against a lesser opponent, which would be most of us Big Ten schools, the Minnesota Golden Gophers. I hope it doesn't happen. Put us back at the end of the schedule. Let us get some steam up. We've got Ricky Tungate Super Chat. Ricky Tungate. Ricky Tungate. Greg, in your past life, did you sell cars? The answer is no, but I got 2 more responses to this. I got 2 more responses to this $10 holler from Ricky Tungate. Number 1, Ricky. Number 1. I'm the guy who before that Minnesota-Oregon game last year, we did a watch party. I did a PATC rendition of PJ Fleck, Roll the Bolt Ashore, Hallelujah. The Michael Roll the Bolt, but it was PJ Fleck, PJ Roll the Bolt Ashore, Hallelujah. I did a whole song. I did everything I possibly could. I created all this positive energy. We created a prayer circle. We did everything we could to uplift the Gophers, to shock the world and beat the Oregon Ducks. Couple minutes into the game was over. It did not work. So, I'm not a car salesman. I just try to drum up belief. You've got to believe first to get anything done. You have to have the belief first to get anything done. And number 2, Ricky Tungate, I'm going to tell you something here. The Indiana Hoosiers, you were like the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Don't forget that over the last 5 decades. Indiana did it. Maybe, just maybe my beloved Golden Gophers can do it. So we're not going to stop believing. We're not going to stop believing. You got to believe in something. Thank you, Ricky Tungate. Thank you so very much for the $10 holler. No, I've never been a salesman. I've never sold nothing. I've been a manager in my life. Amazing Blue. We've got ourselves a super chat. Amazing Blue. Amazing Blue. $5 holler. True. New coach, Greg, but much better coach who will be focused only on football and not the after party. Night, Gophers. Bug hug stays in A2. Ann Arbor. No. It ain't going to stay in Ann Arbor. It ain't going to stay in A2. It's coming home to Minnesota. You got a new coach. He's a great coach. I'm sure Michigan's going to be a great football team. I'm sure they're going to be a great football team. That's why I want you early. There's going to be a big transition for Kyle Whittingham at Michigan. Big expectations. New players. PJ Fleck. We're ready to go. We're ready to go. Get Michigan early. Please, Tony Petitti, you have never answered my Gopher please on scheduling. Do it now. We're 20 minutes away. Tony Petitti, I know you watch this show. I know you. You go change it right now. If you don't have Michigan or Penn State or both early in the Gophers schedule, you go change that right now, Tony Petitti. Change it. Change it. Because I think we can beat Michigan if we get them early. I think we can beat Penn State if we get them early. Petitti, change the schedule. Because I know you did not do right by me. You did not have USC late in November against my beloved Golden Gophers. We were still able to beat the Trojans. Do this one thing for me, Tony. One thing for me. Bring Michigan, Penn State to me early. Let's go. Let's go. Thank you so much for the $5 holler. Amazing Blue. I appreciate it. Dream Crazy. I'm a Notre Dame fan first, but I do like the Hoosiers. Wow. 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 Don Scruggs, Georgia Bulldogs. Seems like there's a lot of hate in the Little 10. Can you all just get along? I don't know. I don't know about that. I'm not getting along with nobody in the Big Ten. I'm a Gopher. I'm not a Big Ten guy. Rich Austin. Greg, I found the Cheeseburger Live show, and that was hilarious. Thank you, but I have to say by the end of it, I could tell that you were realizing what you've been missing out on all this time. Rich Austin, man, you are not a detective. Hopefully you're not a private detective in your real life, because you could not be further from the truth. I was so happy that that disgusting event was over. You see, I'm not going to eat a cheeseburger today, tomorrow, the next day, the next day, the next day, the next. You guys will. I feel bad for you all because you've all been cheesified. The cheesification of America. You've all been fooled into eating cheese with meat in all your meals. No, I feel good now. I got through it. I feel good now. We've got another super chat. $5 holla. Oh, what's this? What is this? Amazing Blue. Begging doesn't look good on you, Greg. Just look at the jug and watch it leave again. Thank you for the $5 holla. I think Amazing Blue is getting a little nervous. I think Amazing Blue is getting a little nervous. I think he knows what's about to happen. He believes I might have moved Tony Petitti into putting Michigan early on the Minnesota schedule. I think he's getting nervous that the Gophers, who's ready to go on day one this year, with Drake Lindsay, Darius Taylor, Jalen Smith, Anthony Smith. If we get Michigan early, the Wolverines are going down. If we get Penn State early, they're going down. I think he's getting a little nervous. We've got him shook. We've got the Wolverines shook. We've got him shook. Cheese and meat is absolutely disgusting. MBM. Thank you, Amazing Blue, for the $5 holler. Thank you for your generation. Steven, a cheeseburger sounds good right now. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Rod Nix is in the house. Gold Knowles. Gold Knowles. We've got a $5 holler super chat. Incorrect, Buckeye Greg. Incorrect. Cheeseburgers are back on sale at the Holy Smokes Theater concession stands with fries. We'll serve you We'll serve you cheese with your nachos, and if you want to dump that ugly stuff onto your hamburger, you go right ahead. But we do not serve cheeseburger at the Holy Smokes Theater. And any employee caught doing that, any employee at the Holy Smokes Theater caught manufacturing a cheeseburger, taking a regular burger, which we do sell, with onions, grilled mushrooms if you want them, pickle, mustard, and raw onion. We'll serve it up however you like it, but we will not manufacture a cheeseburger in the Holy Smokes Theater. Any employee caught doing that, serving a cheeseburger to a customer coming in the Holy Smokes Theater, will be fired on the spot. Not only that, but the customer, somebody, one of you PATC Einsteins who want to get a front seat, want to get in the theater to watch the happenings, you're going to come in there and you're going to ask one of our employees to make you a cheeseburger. You are going to get your ticket ripped up. Security is going to take you out, and you are going to get a 1-year ban from entering into the Holy Smokes Theater. That is how seriously we take anti-cheeseburger. Thank you, Buckeye Greg. I do appreciate it. Even though that was disinformation, thank you for the $5 holler. I appreciate it, my friend. Thank you so very much. We got Amazing Blue Super Chat. Amazing Blue. Winners win, beggars hope, and I'm glad you have hope, my brother. Winners win. Also, winners seem to be able to give the referees a vanilla envelope full of cash to call that offsides on that ridiculous call. But again, this time we're not going to leave it in the referee's hands. This time we're going to take it to Michigan from the beginning to the end. Thank you for the $5 holler, Amazing Blue. Fire them all, and I will. PJ Fleck gives Michigan. Of course he does. Of course PJ Fleck does. Of course he gives respect. 72, 22, and 2, and those are the most glorious 22 in the history of college football. That 22 is a beautiful number. Now, let's get to Indiana, what is their secret sauce? What happened? Why did they go 16-0? How could they dominate? The Athletic, we are 12 minutes away from the Big Ten release of the football schedule. 12 minutes away. So we're going to go through this article real quick. What college football coaches say they've learned from Indiana's championship turnaround. Indiana's national championship, after being the losingest program at the power conference level, had been a paradigm shift in the sport. And Cignetti's coaching peers are as awed by it as anybody. The Athletic reached out to other FBS coaches to ask whether or how Indiana's championship has changed their thinking. The coaches, including power conference head coaches and assistants and group of 6 head coaches, were given anonymity in order to be candid. Coaches universally respected Indiana and Cignetti and saw it as no fluke, and I agree. It's changed the game, said a group of 6 head coach. It's not Michigan, it's not Ohio State, it's super inspiring. If you can do it at Indiana, you can do it anywhere. Age isn't just a number. One of the big reasons Indiana was able to do it, but it's not really one. It's one of the reasons, but not the only reason. When one power conference head coach was asked his thoughts on Indiana, he replied with this screenshot of this post. Last year's Indiana team, 0 freshmen, 3 second years, 2 third years, 10 fourth year players, 4 fifth year players, 4 6-year players. It says a lot, doesn't it? But there are other older teams out there that did not go 16-0. So it's not just about being old. Don't chase stars. It's no secret that when Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State were winning national titles, they were also annually near the top of the high school recruiting rankings. When Michigan won 2 years ago, it had 13 players picked in the next NFL draft. Indiana, of course, was not a recruiting behemoth. But Cignetti brought in players he knew from James Madison, plus other transfers and high school players he and his staff identified as good fits. As one of the power conference head coaches put it, I'm looking for guys that love football, and that's what Indiana got. They love the team aspect, especially with this NIL and rev share stuff going on. The guy can coach. The guy can coach. One power conference head coach had a simple takeaway of Indiana's success. As talent spreads more around college football, creating more parity, coaching still matters, he said. If you look at them, they're one of the finest coach teams of the last decade. That team, Miami, was obviously a more talented team than Indiana. Indiana found a way to win. More than anything, what makes a good head coach looks really different than it did 10 years ago. It used to be that you needed to be a great high school evaluator, a relationship builder, a good old boy with donors. Now you better be really good at evaluating college tape and knowing how to price it, all while building relationships with players to help them not leave. Fundamentals still matter. One of the power conference head coaches marveled at Indiana's turnover margin going into the national title game. They're plus 21 going in the championship game, he said. I don't care if you're Indiana or Bucknell. If you're plus 21, you're going to win a lot of games. Just the discipline they have with the ball. Mendoza obviously got coached up pretty good. And finally, in the article, they're never in the wrong gap. They always seem like they're in the right spot, he said. So it really puts coaching in perspective. Get the right guys you can coach, who will buy into what you want them to do and let them play. That was the takeaway from many coaches. Fundamentals are more important now because of how pieced together teams are. And Indiana jumped out for its fundamentals. Watch their O-line footwork. Watch how their D-line uses their hands and shed blocks, said one of the group of 6 head coaches. It's the little things. It is the little things. It's the little things. Doing little things right every day. And I think I can't put it any. I think that's how I would describe the Indiana Hoosiers. Doing the little things right every day. Kirk Cinetti, Indiana Hoosiers. There really is no secret sauce. It's just that Indiana did it way better than anybody else. The talent evaluation of Kirk Cinetti is, of all the other things he does right, in one of those things, as Jimmy said, how on God's green earth has Kirk Cinetti kept all of his coaches? That's one of the great aspects to this Indiana Hoosier football. Kirk Cinetti was able to keep his coordinators and his coaches. Unbelievable. Relationship building among the coaches. But even more than that, in my opinion, is his talent evaluation. Going after the right guys in the portal. Knowing who would be able to help them at Indiana. Curtis Rourke, getting Rourke, the Ohio Bobcats MAC Player of the Year quarterback, was a sensational move. And then getting Fernando Mendoza was absolutely brilliant. And then being able to keep guys like Omar Cooper, keep the original Hoosiers in the fold. Just a spectacular job. Absolutely spectacular job. Unbelievable. You're welcome, Indiana. Mendoza developed at California. You just saw the polished product with a great surrounding cast. Well, true. And the California Golden Bears have a spectacular talent coming back next year. Breaking news, Bill Belichick lost his first opportunity at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Why would he lose? Why wouldn't Bill Belichick get into the Hall of Fame? Why isn't he a first ballot? I haven't seen it reported. I'm looking through my timeline. I don't see it, but my goodness. Anyways, I want to go through one more story before the Big Ten schedule is going to be released here in 5 minutes from now. 5 minutes from now. Christopher Hooter, $2 holler. Not buying that Miami was more talented than Indiana. A lot of people would agree with you, Christopher Hooter. A lot of people would agree with you. Indiana was a very talented football team. Both were. Miami had incredible. Ruben Bain and Mesidor. I mean, there's going to be some guys on this Miami Hurricane team that's going to make quite the career on playing on Sundays in the NFL. But again, Indiana, Fernando Mendoza, my goodness. He's going to be the number one draft pick, it sounds like. A lot of people would agree with Mr. Hooter, LSU Tiger. Thank you for the $2 holler, Christopher. I appreciate your generosity. Now, I did not know this. Quietly, the college football playoff group of 6 rep no longer needs to be a conference champ. That is the change. Another change that has just been released this morning. I had no idea. I kept saying the 5 top conference champions and then 7 at-large bids for 2026. And the 4 power conference champions get an automatic berth. So you don't, so an ACC, a Big Ten, an SEC, and the Big 12 conference champion does not have to be one of the top 5 ranked. They're automatically in. They don't have to be one of the top 5 ranked conference champions. So Duke would have made it. This coming up year, 2026, Duke would be in the playoffs. But now it has come out that it is the highest ranked G6 school, the highest ranked G6 team with the playoff selection committee, that team is going to the playoffs. It doesn't have to be a conference champion. So you could be a 12-0 G6 team, considered well above everybody else, and lose in your conference championship game and still possibly be in the playoffs. Or it could be a Miami situation where you might have one loss on your schedule. You do not make it into your conference. You do not make it into your conference title game. But you have beaten a couple of decent to good Power 4 teams in your non-conference schedule. And you get the nod. You get the nod to go to the playoffs. You do not have to be a conference champion to make the playoffs. Wow. I did not know that. It's caught a lot of people by surprise this morning. My goodness. So it's the highest group of 6 seeding without a non-conference championship game win. Right? It's just the highest group of 6. Whatever is the highest ranked team. After the championship games, the conference games have been played. I don't think Belichick owes everything to Brady. And I cannot, there's no way that Belichick should not, if Chuck Noll for Pittsburgh, Bill Belichick should have been a first time ballot. Too much success, in my opinion. Okay, here we go, guys. All right. We're getting ready for the football schedule release here. Let me see what I can do. Putting on the Big Ten Network. It's going to be released on the Big Ten Network. Okay. I'm keeping an eye. I am keeping an eye on any reports coming on X. Keep your head on a swivel. Let me know if you see any reports on any Big Ten schedule for 2026. As Josh Pate said, the frequency with which critical details of the playoff structure were unknown for months is astounding. He sent this 30 minutes ago. I had no idea that this was the case. And I don't know anybody that did know. I don't know what that means. I don't know why they're keeping all this stuff a secret. Very odd. Very odd situation. All right, here we go. Here we go. Keep your head on a swivel, ladies and gentlemen. Keep your head on a swivel. Keep your head on a swivel. Here we go. My apologies. I'm going to be looking down here. Looking down at my phone here for a little bit while we go through this. Gophers open at Washington is my guess. All right? Come on now. Big Ten Network. 2026 schedule release in real time. We're going to do the best we can. Put your head on a swivel. Let me know. Give me a link to anybody's schedule on X at Flug Empire. Still nothing. Still nothing. Kirk Bender, I'm guessing Ohio State opens with Illinois. Chuck Noll was never accused of cheating. Well, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. The Vikings accused the Steelers of cheating. Frank Tarkenton did. He believes they were the very first team on steroids when the Steelers beat my beloved Vikings 16-6 in the Super Bowl. All right. Here we go. Indiana. Is there going to start with Indiana? Is it going to be an opener against the Gophers? Big Ten opener. We're going to find out. Gotta hope not. Whew. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Northwestern, Rutgers, Nebraska, Ohio State, Michigan, Minnesota on October 31st by USC Washington. By God, that's a tough schedule. Ohio State and Michigan, week 7 and week 8. Week 7 and week 8. And then Minnesota before they go on the bye. I kind of like that spot for my Gophers. I kind of like that spot for my Gophers. I do not see a Friday night game. I don't see a Friday. Maybe they're not going to show you what the Friday games are today. Sometimes they do that. Halloween versus the Golden Gophers. Well, it's October 31st. Yeah. That's not a Thursday, though. That's a Sunday. Sunday, Halloween, Sunday night. I mean, that's not a Friday, I meant. Okay. North Texas, Howard, Western Kentucky, Northwestern, Rutgers, Nebraska. Rutgers, October 3rd, Nebraska, October 10th. So Indiana has a pretty good takeoff strip when it comes to 2026. They're probably going to get some time here to get Josh Hoover and the new players. First half of the schedule, Indiana's going to get on a roll. Second half of the schedule, Indiana's going to be challenged. Indiana is going to be challenged. USC, Washington, Ohio State, and Michigan. Oregon. Here is Oregon's schedule. Okay, now I like what happened with the Gophers. Indiana is deep in the season. Bring me Michigan and Penn State on a silver platter early in the season. Dante Moore. Boise State, Oklahoma State, Portland State, USC. We already covered this because it was leaked. USC is their first Big Ten game. UCLA, Nebraska. And again, we talked about it. They've got Ohio State and Michigan back to back. Week 10, week 11. Indiana's got Michigan and Ohio State back to back. So does Oregon. But, the Buckeyes and Michigan's late season schedule, they are loading up. Tony Petitti and the Big Ten are loading up November and the last couple of weeks in October. They're absolutely loading up. Holy smokes. But then again, Oregon does play USC on September 26th. Nittany 89, Greg, we're keeping the bell regardless of when we play. No, they have not done Washington. They've only done Indiana and Oregon. Only the two schedules that have been released on the Big Ten Network. I want to thank I want to give a big thanks to Ricky Tungate, Buckeye Greg, Amazing Blue, and Christopher Hooter for your donations. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. All right. Everything good so far. Everything good so far. Here is the Buckeyes. Key offensive returners, Julian Sain, Bo Jackson, Jeremiah Smith. They're going to release the Buckeyes schedule next. They went Indiana, they went Oregon, and they went the Buckeyes. My beloved Golden Gophers are not playing the Buckeyes this year. Whew, thank goodness. Ball State, Texas. Again, week 2. Kent State. The Buckeyes open the Big Ten schedule against Illinois September 26th. Iowa, at Iowa, October 3rd. Maryland on the 10th. Indiana on the 17th. A bye. USC October 31st. Oregon, November 7th. Northwestern, Nebraska, Michigan, November 28th. So they've got USC and Oregon October 31st, November 7th. Back to back after a bye week. And before that bye week, they've got Indiana. October 17th, Indiana. Bye week, USC, Oregon for the Buckeyes. They begin the Big Ten schedule against Illinois. And then they go to Iowa. Woo! Woo! Buckeyes have got a challenge on their hands. The Ohio State Buckeyes have got a challenge on their hands. Sounds like they're going to order a finish. Feels like we'll have to wait to the end for Minnesota. Ryan Brooks, that is incorrect. Whoops. I didn't mean that one. That is incorrect. No. The Gophers finished at the top half of the conference once again. Once again, my beloved Golden Gophers finished at the top half of the conference. Barely, again, at the top half of the conference. They just snuck in there, but at the top half of the conference once again. Do not listen to Mr. Ryan Brooks, the LSU Tiger. Don't listen to that. Do not listen to that. Okay. All right, here we go. So far, nothing has really affected tough scheduling at the end of the season for the Buckeyes, for Indiana, for Oregon, all of them. All right, let's get to it, Big Ten. Come on now. Let's get to it. We've broken this down. Michigan is next. All right, now put Minnesota early. Come on, Tony Petiti. Put Minnesota early. Let's go. Let's go. Nah. Early, decently early. I'll take it. I would take it. Michigan, Western Michigan, Oklahoma. Again, the rematch with the Sooners, Utah. They begin Iowa, September 26th. Minnesota, October 3rd. I will take that. I like that spot. I love that spot. After playing at home against Iowa, they come to Minnesota October 3rd, bye week. Then they play Penn State, Indiana, Rutgers, Michigan State, Oregon, UCLA, Ohio State. Now, this schedule doesn't really, it's evenly spread out, right? They play Oregon and Ohio State in November. Again, a tough November schedule, Michigan, Oregon, Ohio State, Michigan. That whole trifecta going on there. But besides that, Indiana, October 24th, Penn State, October 17th. Iowa, September 26th. The Michigan Wolverines. They're going to be on the road against the Gophers, the Scarlet Knights, the Ducks, and the Buckeyes. Kind of a difficult road schedule. Difficult road schedule for Michigan. I'm going to take, they've got 8 home games. I am going to take that. I will take that October 3rd date. That is what the Gophers needed. If we are going to spring the upset against Michigan, we needed them early on the schedule. And that's exactly what we got. Thank you, Tony Petiti. Thank you, Silent Tony. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Let's go. Let's go. The jug is ours. The jug is ours. The next, USC, Iowa, Illinois in Minnesota. All right. What do you guys think so far? What do y'all think so far? I'm going to open up the phone lines. The phone lines are open. 763-260-1333, 763-260-1333. You know how it works. Super chats, phone calls, supersede. I'll get to the other comments. Just wondering what you guys are thinking here so far. The Big Ten schedule. All the apples are coming back to Husky Stadium. Buckeye Greg, yeah, you have a tough schedule. I got my wish. Now I want Penn State also early in the schedule. Lead off with Penn State. Go Penn State and Michigan. Back to back. Let's go. Let's go. I'm not afraid. Keep Penn. I don't want to play Penn State late. I want to play them early. Let's go. So USC gets both Indiana and the Buckeyes coming off a bye. The Grateful Trojan. Yeah, that's not good, is it? USC has now I've got USC going to the playoffs. I think they're ready to go, but they're going to have a very difficult schedule. We know that before it even gets released. We know who they play. We know they have a very difficult schedule. Sports gaming guy, what if the Big Ten becomes a national champion for the 4th time? It's going to be difficult to pull off, but I think the Buckeyes can do it. I think Oregon can definitely do it. And, you know, when you've got Indiana doing it this year, you're going to have to open up your bandwidth on who you think has a shot to win it all. We'll see what Kyle Whittingham does first year at Michigan. I think USC is going to be tremendous this year. I think the Trojans are going to be really, really good. Washington has a chance to be really good. I'm sure I'm missing a few teams in there. We know that. We know the Badgers in Minnesota will be the final game. Don Scruggs does not like the idea. Does not like the idea of a 4th straight champion coming from the Big Ten. Here is the USC's schedule. Fresno State, Louisiana at Rutgers. Then home against Oregon. Home against Washington. At Penn State. The last part of the schedule is Wisconsin, the Buckeyes. Indiana, Maryland, UCLA. So they got the Buckeyes and a bye and then Indiana. Earlier in the season, they got Oregon and Washington. They've got Oregon and Washington back to back. Boy, you know, these schedules, I don't know, man. There may only be one Big Ten team that qualifies for the playoffs. Because this is gruesome. There's going to be a lot of carnage, lots of carnage. Now, Of course, I said that last year, and Indiana went 16-0. There ain't going to be no Big Ten team that goes 16-0 this year. Can we agree to that? If you had to choose one Big Ten team that would go 16-0, what team would that be? Even though I got the Buckeyes winning the Big Ten right now, I would take the Oregon Ducks. If I had to choose one team to go 16-0. USC Trojans. They finished the season at UCLA, their rival. At Indiana, November 14th. Wisconsin, October 24th. Their road games are Rutgers, Penn State, Wisconsin, Indiana, UCLA. Stormy Cyclone says Oregon. Annie says Oregon. Don Scruggs says Georgia. Georgia's not in the Big Ten. Badger says Buckeyes. Okay, here comes Iowa. All right, Iowa. When are you going to play my Gophers? When are you going to play my Golden Gophers? You have whipped us lately. You have whooped us. I have no idea. I don't even have a preference. Okay, they play Minnesota October 24th. So that means Minnesota has got Iowa and Michigan back to back. Michigan, week 4, September 26th, Iowa. Iowa, Michigan, Iowa, Ohio State, Iowa, Washington. Look at the first 3 Big Ten games for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Michigan, Ohio State, and Washington. Good Lord. Then they play Minnesota after a bye, of course. Wisconsin, Northwestern, Purdue, Illinois, and Nebraska. The back half of that schedule is very doable. Iowa's playing teams they've historically and recently have beaten up on. If the Hawkeyes can get through the Michigan, Ohio State, Wisconsin, September 26th, October 3rd, October 10th, if they can get through that going 2-1, the Hawkeyes might be on their way. But that is a brutal opening Big Ten schedule for Iowa. Oh my gosh. And it could not happen to a better... wow. Holy smokes. Here comes the Fighting Illini of Illinois. We believe they open up with the Buckeyes, right? Big Ten schedule. Illinois, Ohio State. Let's see what the rest of the schedule looks like. UAB, Duke. The Buckeyes, again, they open up against the Buckeyes at Ohio State, at home against Purdue, at Michigan State. Then they get a bye. Oregon, Maryland, Nebraska, UCLA, Iowa, Northwestern, and I think I talked about this, I think in December. Illinois has a schedule that you want to make a run for the Big Ten championship, right? They have that type of schedule. Yeah, they play the Buckeyes, but they avoid, look at who they avoid. They avoid Indiana. They avoid Michigan. They've got the Buckeyes and Oregon. They basically have the Gophers schedule of last year. Not a bad, that's a pretty good schedule for Illinois. That's my opinion. What do I think of Desmond Williams? I think he's one hell of a quarterback. And I think this year, if he takes a step up, which he should, He is going to be very difficult to beat. Buckeye Greg, thank goodness we got a bye between Indiana and USC. Yeah. Illinois has a good schedule to make some hay. Absolutely. Badger born mouth fan. Other teams are getting Wisconsin's schedule the last 2 years. The Minnesota Golden Gophers. Let's go. Let's go. Penn State, Michigan. First 2 games. Let's go. I want them early. I want them early. Let's go. Ooh, that's not good. That's not good. I don't like any of this. At Washington, I don't like that first Big Ten game. Nope. No, Petiti. Michigan at home, that's where I want them. Purdue at Purdue. At home against Iowa, at Indiana. Bye week, Iowa, Indiana, UCLA, Penn State. I did not want Penn State late. Did not want the Lions late. Northwestern in Wisconsin. Well, we're going to have to find 8 wins in there. They play Mississippi State in between Eastern Illinois and Akron. We're going to have to find 8 wins in there. Tony doesn't see a loss on the schedule. I do not like that November 14th date at Penn State. I think Matt Campbell will get that team going by then. Indiana, October 31st, Halloween night. Iowa. Now, playing Iowa after that bye week at home, I guess. Purdue, bye week, Iowa. All right. But we got to beat Michigan. Michigan is the swinging gate game for the Gophers. You lose to Washington, but you beat Michigan, you can rattle into Indiana with a 3-1, whatever record, Big Ten. Let's go. But that Michigan game is everything. Drake Lindsey, again, he's not a true freshman anymore. He's not a redshirt freshman anymore. He threw 18 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He played at Ohio State. He played at Oregon. Now he's got to play at Washington. It's still manageable. I think we can do it. Let's go. Fun fact, Minnesota versus Northwestern will be the 100th meeting between the schools. Holy smokes. What's the price of pork in Minnesota? It must be high because it's scarce. Finely tuned, the Penn State Cyclone fans are in for a Cornhusker experience. They fired Solich for 9-3. Penn State will be wishing for 9-3 soon. Wow. Look, if they would have switched out the Washington and Purdue, I do not like opening up at Washington. That I do not like. Everything else, and I do not like Penn State late. Everything else is fine. Amazing Blue, Minnesota will start off at 2-2. I have a really bad feeling for the Huskies versus the Gophers, but only for the Gophers. Things that I don't have time for. Teams and fans complaining about their conference schedule. Well, John, I'm complaining. I am complaining. I am complaining. I wanted Penn State early. Seems like we always play Penn State in November. Yes. We always play Penn State late. Again, if you're new to the channel, if you haven't done it yet, please subscribe and ring that notification bell. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends. We talk and we cover everything nationally in college football. So please join us. And again, we come on almost every single day with an episode going live. Today we're covering the Big Ten football release. Tomorrow we're going to be covering something entirely different. Every day is different here at Peek Around the Corner. So join us, subscribe, ring the notification bell. The Washington Huskies, Washington State, Utah State, Eastern Washington, Minnesota, USC, Iowa, Purdue. The bye: Nebraska, Penn State, Michigan State, Indiana, Oregon. Again, Washington has a chance to be in the hunt, right? They got the USC, Iowa. They got the Indiana, Oregon late. Penn State, we'll see. Again, Penn State is a mystery this year. But they got a shot. Washington has got a shot. If they can put it together, if they can put away all the hard feelings that the Demon Williams situation possibly created. The bye week is October 24th. Before and after that bye week is 2 road games, Purdue and Nebraska. They are at USC and at Oregon. They're 2 big rivals for Washington. They're on the road at USC, at Oregon. There's some challenges there. Cal Bears, Denman can't beat the top teams with his arms. Dabney, Alfermine, Indiana's offensive line is supposed to be trash in 2026. Back to the normal atrocious recruits? I don't think so. But we're going to find out. But I don't think so. In fact, they do have an offensive lineman that's coming back who is all consensus first team Big Ten preseason right now. So they did not lose everybody. We shall see. Let me see about any reporting here. Nebraska's schedule coming up, and they have a difficult schedule. Ohio, Bowling Green, North Dakota. They start with Michigan State, at Michigan State. Maryland. Then it's Indiana, Oregon. By Washington, Illinois, Rutgers, Ohio State, and Iowa. So they play Oregon, they play Ohio State, they play Indiana, Washington, Illinois. They're at Iowa. They're going to have to win one of their big home games, right? They're going to have to beat the Buckeyes, or they're going to have to beat Indiana or Washington. They're going to have to win one of those home games to make it a special season at Lincoln. Nebraska, the last 30 games against ranked teams, going into a game against a ranked opponent, Nebraska is 0-30. They're going to have lots of opportunities to break that streak at Nebraska. Ohio and Nebraska. Yep, my Bobcats visit Nebraska to start the year. Let me show you guys something. Scott Docterman. The Big Ten has the last 3 national champions, and all 3 play one another this year. Buckeyes, Hoosiers, October 17th. Hoosiers, Wolverines, October 24th. Michigan, Ohio State, November 28th. And my Gophers play Michigan and Indiana. We got 2 of them as well. I don't see Indiana winning many road games, including Nebraska. Woo! Well, they're going to be a couple touchdown favorites against Nebraska. We'll find out. I mean, Nebraska, they've lost 30 straight games against ranked opponents. So the pressure is on Nebraska. Northwestern, South Dakota State, then a bye. Their bye is week 2. South Dakota State, September 5th. Colorado, Indiana, Penn State, Ball State, Michigan State. Rutgers, Oregon, Iowa, Ohio State, Minnesota, Illinois. Not a bad schedule. Again, they've got the old Ducks and Buckeyes combo. It seems like whoever plays the Ducks play the Buckeyes as well. Northwestern Wildcats. South Dakota State, and then a bye in week September 12th. Colorado, Indiana, at Indiana to begin their Big Ten season. At home against Penn State. At Michigan State. At home against Rutgers. On the road, Oregon. At home against Iowa. Here comes the Penn State Nittany Lions schedule here. Matt Campbell, year one. Buckle up. Marshall, Temple, Buffalo. They begin the Big Ten against Wisconsin week 4. Northwestern, USC, Michigan. Then they have a bye week. Purdue, Washington, Minnesota, Rutgers, and Maryland. Now this schedule works for the Nittany Lions, right? This is probably a pretty good schedule for a year 1 Matt Campbell's football team. So the Nittany Lions are getting a break here. First year Matt Campbell, this is a schedule where they can do some damage. USC, Michigan, October 10th, October 17th. Washington on the road, November 7th. Road games, Maryland, Washington, Michigan, Northwestern, Temple. And we go to commercials once again. I want to thank you all for joining us. We are covering the Big Ten football schedule release in real time here. In real time. I can see maybe an 11-1, one loss to Washington. Any that's a playoff making schedule. Did Penn State avoid the top three? They avoided a lot on their schedule. Look, you guys really believe that I don't think Penn State. I'm gonna have Rocco Becht. He's a good quarterback. Don't get it twisted. Brahmer, good tight end. Don't get it twisted. I don't think Penn State is going to be at the top of the Big Ten. Now, I have been picking Penn State near or at the top of the Big Ten for the last 4 years. I'm not going to do it this year. Not going to do it this year. They're going to have to prove it to me. The Nittany Lions are going to have to prove it to me. Great. Can you tell me USC's schedule again? I don't see it posted anywhere. It's still not really posted. I'll try to find that, Tony. Great, they have to prove it to everyone. Absolutely. Here is UCLA. Nico, I'm leaving on a jet plane, the quarterback of the Bruins. They start the season at California. San Diego State, Purdue. The first Big Ten game, September 19th, week 3. At Maryland, bye. At Oregon, at home against Wisconsin. Michigan State, Nevada. Minnesota, November 7th. Illinois, Michigan, USC. This time the Bruins come to Minnesota. Last time Minnesota went to Pasadena and beat the Bruins. This time UCLA has to go to Minnesota. I would never use the chat to help. Why would it? Dabney, I would never use, what do you call that? The C, whatever that, I would not. I don't need help to create our own tier list for the incoming quarterbacks of the Big Ten. I'll try to do that for every conference. I think I did it last year. I think I did it last year. You would put Josh Hoover on tier 2? Ooh. I think I'm going to put him on tier 1. I think I would put Josh Hoover on tier 1. All right. We're almost done, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting near the end. Thank you for joining us on the Big Ten release. We got Rutgers. Antoine Raymond, 1,200 yards last year. Holy smokes. But they're going to have a new quarterback. Rutgers is going to have a new quarterback. Who is going to be their quarterback for 2026? UMass, Boston College, USC, Howard, Indiana. Rutgers starts their Big Ten season, USC, and then Indiana. Then a bye week. Maryland, Northwestern, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nebraska, Penn State, Michigan State. So, you know, they're avoiding Oregon. They're avoiding Ohio State. They got Indiana, they got USC. Denzel Boston, yep, sensational wide receiver. I know, I got Penn State late, and I did not want that to happen. Did not want that to happen. No, this is not the last year for the Big Ten to be without Notre Dame and Miami. Colton Joseph, Wisconsin. Notre Dame, we know that game, right? Lambeau Field. Western Illinois, Eastern Michigan, Penn State, their first Big Ten game at Penn State. Michigan State by UCLA. Then USC, Iowa, Rutgers, Maryland, Purdue, Minnesota. Wisconsin does not have the same brutal Big Ten schedule that they've had the last couple of years. Somewhat of a break this year. Actually, really, it's a big break, right? Who don't they play? They don't play Indiana. They don't play Ohio State. They don't play Oregon. So Wisconsin finally got a break. I still don't think they're going to do very good, though. I still don't think they're going to finish in the top half of the conference. But they did get a break in their schedule. Sports Gaming Guy, thanks for coming on in. USC Trojans need to finalize their third non-conference matchup after they canceled the Notre Dame game. And are they going to schedule a FCS opponent? Are they going to end up doing that for the first time ever? Michigan and Nebraska on in 45 minutes. Peacock. Huge Big Ten basketball game. Dabney, Kirk Cincinnati, Indiana football team are going to be at the Assembly Hall right before the 9 p.m. Eastern Time basketball game versus Purdue. Thank you, Dabney, for that information. If USC needs a team to play, USF is available. Really? I did not know that, Bulls fan. Thank you for that information. The Buckeyes schedule is brutal. Damn, it is. It is. It is. It's not kind to the Buckeyes. All right, guys, we are going to wrap it up. We've been on the air for an hour and 45 minutes. I do want to thank once again those who donated to the program. Christopher Hooter, Amazing Blue, Buckeye Greg, Ricky Tungate. I appreciate you guys' generosity. Very much appreciated. Thank you guys for joining us. It's sort of a dry live. We do this with every power conference. We go through the schedule, but I think it's important. You remember, this is a national college football YouTube channel. We cover everything in college football. So, of course, we're going to cover the release of the schedule. And by the way, there's more information to come, right? Soon, at some point, they're going to tell us what their Friday games are, right? They're going to tell us the special primetime games during the season in all the conferences. So we are going to be covering those news items when they appear. I want to thank you all for joining us. And again, buckle up, brace for impact. There's going to be a live show tomorrow, Wednesday. Maybe there's a live show later tonight if there's breaking news. You got to keep your head on a swivel. Make sure you subscribe, get yourself notified, ring that notification bell, smash the like button before you leave. I appreciate all of you. From all of us to all of you, please you all take great care of each other. Thank you so very much.